is, folks, the first Super Tournament of the year, 2015, the 77th Tata Steel Chess Tournament. Great action, great tournament, great world-class players. Don't miss any of the action. Hi, folks, John Cordisco back again. Well, we're winding down round 13, the last round of the 77th edition of Tata Steel Chess. A game from the Masters section. Two players that need no introduction in the chess world. Fabiano Caruana, Italian-American playing for Italy. One of the top players in the world. Over 2,800 rated. Number 2 in the world, actually. And Maxime LaGrave, MVL as they call him from France. Top French player is black. Let's get to it. E4, C5, Knight F3, and D6. It's going to be, of course, as you can tell, a Sicilian. Pretty much standard stuff, so let's go through it. Pawn, knight. Now that's an interesting knight move there. Usually what you'll see is the knight come back to here. Actually, I kind of like that better. I never really cared for it, unless you're planning on castling on the queen side for white, but which you do a lot in the Sicilian, but it doesn't go for much king side attack. It's kind of, I just think it's counterintuitive to put all your pieces in front of your castle king and not attack, especially if you're white. But that's just me. Knight on DD2, H5, here we go. G3. That's an interesting move there. A lot of the time you'll see the knight move either the G1 or back to G3. Bishop G5 is a good move, I think. Bishop E3. But G3, interesting. Bishop E6. Caruana plays Bishop G2. LaGrave develops his other knight to D7. Now this is another interesting move here, and I'm sure these guys are all in their preparation. They prepare for these games. Sometimes they'll do preparation from a previous tournament or a previous player, and they'll remember it. And that's the tough part about these guys. They have so much preparation that they always sit there and they're staring at the ceiling. You'll see them. What they're doing is they're trying to think of their preparation. And sometimes they get the move order wrong. This isn't one of those cases, but that happens a lot. A4. Interesting. Now, the computer didn't hate that move. It just didn't care for it that much. I like Bishop E3 the best. F4. I thought was a viable move as well, eventually casting on the queen side. F4, I think, what I would have done. But he went A4, Bishop E7, and white decides the castle on the king side. Interesting. Right now it's even to score. Minute advantage, just going back and forth between white and black. We'll say 0. Rook C8, Bishop E3. Queen to A5, computer likes castle short for black. H4, which is interesting. That I like that move a lot, actually. That's a lot more forceful. Well, Maxime decided to go for knight to B6. That's an interesting move. Now, obviously, as you can see, he's trying to get his knight here. If you go queen to A5 instead, after queen to D2, that pretty much controls that. But that's an interesting move. Knight to B6. B3. He wants to go D5. That's the reason why I put the knight there. Bishop takes. Queen takes. Knight takes. Knight takes. Pawn takes. Bishop has to move back. Now, black has sacrificed the pawn to open up the game a little bit. And I think that was a good move. I think that was a good way to go about it. C4. Got a 4 against 2 pawns on the queen side. Might as well go for that. Queen to D6. That was an interesting move. Now I saw Danny King. He did a analysis of this game. He said Maxime took 27 minutes for this move, I believe he said. And H4, which I thought was a really good move. I like H4 a lot. Opens up white's king side, and you're going to have a free-for-all. A5. Decided to go queen to D6. A5. H4 still looks pretty good, but he went for it. F5. Here come the pawns. This is the last round. Maxime's going for it. Maxime figures, you know what? This is the last round. Let's roll the dice. Queen of D3. H4. He's really trying to bust up White's king side. It looks pretty secure right now, but it's not going to be for long, I don't think. G4. Interesting might have been rook to A2, and then castles. Trying to get that protection horizontally here with the rook. After G4, black castles anyway, and that's a good move. It puts that rook right on the F file. He played F takes instead. Knight to C3, and I don't know, the computer thought maybe that was an interesting line. But I like the castles better. Knight to C3. E4. Queen comes over. Now it's going to start getting hairy with these pawns. What are you going to do here as black? Excuse me. He decides to move the bishop. Bishop takes. And at this point, Caruana is getting pressed so hard. I mean, you've got rook here, bishop coming down, bishop coming down, queen coming down, pawn, pawn. I'll use a different color so you can see that. Pawn's coming down. It's tough. So what he decides to do is he decides to sacrifice a piece for two pawns. F takes, knight takes. Now, it's not the end of the world. Caruana's got 3 pawns for the bishop. So it's a knight and 3 pawns against 2 bishops. But you can't trade. You start trading down pieces, you lose that evenness with the material. Queen to F4, so naturally now black wants to trade. But what's he going to do? He has to trade. So they trade queens. At F3, looks like he's trying to consolidate, set up some kind of a weird fortress so black cannot get through. So MVL slowly starts to build up his forces. They're going to bring the rook over here soon and go after this pawn, so he has to move the king. And then when the rook comes over, he moves the king to E3. That way at least that pawn's guarded. It's his backward pawn. How does you get the light squared bishop into the game? You go bishop E8. Now this is where I think Fabiano miscues. Computer likes rook A to D1, bishop, knight G5, just try to hold the fortress. But what he did was instead, he went C5. And the computer didn't like that at all. Bishop B5, now that bishop's back in. B4, maybe just trying to push his fortress forward. But this is beautiful. Rook takes E4. Pawn can't take. Get the rook for free. King has to take. And what would you do here? I think all of us would take the rook. But no, MVL's better than that. That's why he's a world-class player. Rook to E8. What a beautiful move that is. And watch what happens to White's king. King to F4. What's he going to go? G5 check. King to F5. Look at this king. King to E7. Tighten the noose. Rook. Bishop checks from behind. Rook E4. What else can he do? And now there's bishop F6. And it's over. Rook to E5 mate, and he can't get out of it. How cool is that, mate? Give you an idea. If you want rook to C1, rook to E5 is mate. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Anyway, tough break for Fabiano Caruana. Excellent game by Maxime Fichet-Lagrave. They call him MVL. And so that's one of the games from the last round of the 77th edition of Tata Steel Chess, the Masters section. I hope you enjoyed it. I want to personally say in the last month, I've gotten a lot more views on my videos and I've gotten a lot more subscribers. And I can't even begin to tell you how appreciative I am. Really, honestly. I'm just a little guy that loves chess. Lives in upstate New York in the United States, and to see so many people viewing my videos and clicking the like button, it makes me feel really good, and I appreciate it. Anyway, folks, as I always say, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.